Hi, have you ever stopped to think, where do black stereotypes come from? It's a thought-provoking question, isn't it? Unearthing the origins of these generalizations is not just a historical endeavor, but a critical step in understanding our society today. These stereotypes, you see, shape our perceptions, influencing how we view individuals and communities. They carry weight, impacting lives in tangible ways. So let's take a step back. Let's question, let's learn. In this brief exploration, we delve into the roots of black stereotypes like watermelon, Kool-Aid, and dangerous. The seeds of black stereotypes were sown during the era of slavery. This period of history, marred by the gross mistreatment and dehumanization of black people, laid the foundation for stereotypes that have persisted to this day. These preconceptions were not born out of truth or understanding, but rather from the need to justify the unconscionable acts being committed. Stereotypes served as a tool for oppressors, a way to rationalize their actions by painting those they oppressed as lesser. They allowed for a narrative that stripped black people of their humanity, reducing them to caricatures that justified their treatment. Consider the stereotype of the happy slave, a concept designed to mask the horrors of slavery, to suggest that black people were content in their servitude. Or the mammy, a stereotype that presented black women as nurturing, loyal caretakers to white families, obscuring the truth of their forced labor and exploitation. Then there's the savage, a stereotype propagated to instill fear, to paint black people as dangerous and uncivilized. These stereotypes, created centuries ago, were not just harmful misrepresentations, but strategic tools in the perpetuation of a system built on inequality and oppression. They were born out of a need to dehumanize, to justify, and to control. And while we may live in a different era now, the echoes of these stereotypes persist. These stereotypes, born centuries ago, still echo in our society today. The end of slavery did not mean the end of stereotypes. Following the abolition of slavery, one might have expected the stereotypes to fade away. Yet they persisted, and in some cases grew stronger. This was particularly evident during the Jim Crow era, a period filled with degrading racial caricatures that were deeply ingrained into the American psyche. In literature, black characters were often depicted as docile, ignorant, or dangerous, reinforcing old stereotypes and creating new ones. These caricatures were not limited to the pages of books. They found their way onto the silver screen and later television. Cinematic portrayals of black people often highlighted negative traits, further emphasizing the stereotypes. For instance, the mammy character, a loyal, asexual, and matronly black woman, became a staple in American cinema. The brute stereotype, characterizing black men as inherently violent and aggressive, also emerged. Such portrayals were not just misleading, they were harmful, perpetuating a distorted view of an entire race. These stereotypes were not confined to the entertainment industry. They permeated societal perceptions, influencing attitudes and decisions in real-world scenarios, from the courtroom to the classroom. They painted a monolithic image of black identity, neglecting the richness and diversity within the black community. These stereotypes were not just hurtful labels but acted as barriers to social and economic progress. They created a self-reinforcing cycle of bias and discrimination, making it harder for black people to break free from the constraints imposed by these stereotypes. Today, we still see the remnants of these stereotypes. They've morphed, twisted, and taken on new forms, yet their roots remain buried in the same soil of ignorance and prejudice. Take, for instance, the pervasive thug stereotype. This harmful trope paints black individuals as inherently violent, dangerous, and criminal. It's a stereotype that's been weaponized, often justifying unfair treatment and bias. Then there's the welfare queen, another damaging stereotype that portrays black women as lazy and exploiting social aid programs. This stereotype propagates harmful narratives that undermine the dignity of hardworking individuals and families striving to overcome economic disparities. These stereotypes don't just exist in a vacuum, they have real-world consequences. They can influence perceptions, shape behaviors, and even dictate policy decisions. They have a profound impact on individuals and communities, creating barriers and perpetuating inequality. Despite progress, the shadows of these stereotypes linger. It's a stark reminder of the work that still needs to be done to challenge and dismantle these harmful narratives. Understanding the origins of these stereotypes is the first step toward dismantling them. Let's start by challenging our own biases. Examine them, question them, and understand where they come from. Then, let's actively work against perpetuating harmful stereotypes. This isn't a passive task. It's an active commitment to change the narrative, to shift our perspectives, to see people as they truly are. Because together, we can create a society where Black individuals are seen for who they truly are, not as caricatures shaped by centuries-old stereotypes. Be sure to hit that like or subscribe button and keep being curious, beautiful, and continue learning. Check out some of my other videos and keep staying curious. Be sure to hit that like or subscribe button and keep being curious, beautiful, and continue learning. Check out some of my other videos and keep staying curious.